I really would want to have a centered my presentation centered around what the ministry has done, is doing, and still plans for the future. So my presentation to this very noble gathering is outlined in the next slide, please. Introducing the topic that you all have been listening to and heard. What is decarbonization? Just in my own way of introducing my slide to mention that decarbonization aims at reducing carbon dioxide emissions through using low carbon energy sources and reducing carbon output from industries, transportation, etc. High levels of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases contribute to global warming, leading to extreme weather conditions, sea level rise, biodiversity loss. Decarbonization also, very importantly, fosters innovation and creates jobs in the green economy and improves a whole lot of public-related health issues. To stop. Next slide. Um, we can't talk about Nigeria without having an overview of Africa and what the outlook is in the world globally. Though Africa is a low emitter, it's most important to know that it's really affected by climate change. The continent faces severe impacts like drought, flood, and food insecurity due to its reliance on agriculture, limited infrastructure, and low adaptive capacity, in spite of its least contribution to the global emission. But in spite of this all, we see the strategies that have been put in place globally to ensure the acceleration of the adoption of renewable energy sources, solar, wind, hydropower, to replace the fossil-based economy that we are presently having in Nigeria. Well, there are highlights of successful initiatives in solar farms, wind turbine, and many other improvements in energy efficiency programs within the buildings, transportation, industries. It's expected that encouraging the use of energy efficient appliances, electric vehicles, and smart grids will also contribute to decarbonization. Promoting the development and deployment of green technologies, including carbon capture, storage, and hydrogen fuel cells. Importantly, the implementation of robust policies that incentivize low carbon solutions are also contributors to decarbonization. Carbon taxing, tax credits for renewable energy, and regulations of emission. This is the direction in which Nigeria is going, and you'll recall that in Glasgow, countries were made to make a pledge towards carbon neutrality, and Nigeria, as a party to the UNFCCC, made that pledge. And the federal government almost immediately demonstrated political will towards putting in place decarbonization actions and bringing to bear Nigeria's contributions towards carbon neutral pledge. Next slide. What's Nigeria's efforts towards carbon decarbonization so far? I will speak from the angle of the ministry. Across board, different MDAs, relevant MDAs, have contributed in their own quotient to ensuring Nigeria meets her pledge of reducing global greenhouse gases and also the commitments to 2060 net zero emission targets. In this session, this slides I present Nigeria's efforts and commitments towards the net zero emissions and the resilience programs. The federal government of Nigeria had made several climate interventions intended to mitigate climate change and increase resilience to avoid the excruciating consequences of climate change. It's important to note that a bill on climate change was passed, and this brought into operationalization the Climate Change Council, which has a mandate and a framework to articulate long-term climate plans for Nigeria to achieve the net zero climate targets. The government of Nigeria also submitted its revised and robust nationally determined contributions that articulates Nigeria's climate actions up until 2030 in response to the Paris Agreement. In addition, the federal government of Nigeria formulated and communicated its long-term low greenhouse gas emission development strategy, LTLEDs, envisioned within these documents is that by 2050, Nigeria as a country will become low carbon, climate resilient, high growth circular economy that reduces its current level of emissions by 50%, moving towards having net zero emissions across all sectors and its development in a gender responsive manner. Through the Federal Ministry of Environment, Nigeria developed a decarbonization transition plan which enumerated pathways for Nigeria to achieve net zero by 2050. The decarbonization pathway was a project, research-based, and capacity building for the implementation of a decarbonization pathway. Under the framework of this was supported by the AFD and the International Relations and Sustainable Development Institute, IDDRI, the project coordinator, and in collaboration with the Department of Climate Change and the Federal Ministry of Environment. This project provided the modeling and quantification aspects of a long-term emission development strategy. Usually and notably, modeling tools were developed under the DDP and were used, including the low emission analysis platform, the LEAP. Next slide. Within this project, just before I go through the next one, it's important to note the organization project was designed to generate a context of specific scenarios and long-term modeling that will offer substantial evidences to support the Nigerian government's long-term emission reduction strategies and our climate actions in general. The decarbonization, like I already mentioned, also had a handshake with other projects, policies, and programs that were aimed at reducing greenhouse gases. Some of the key policies for accelerating the decarbonization include Nigeria's net zero emission commitments at Glasgow, Nigeria's nationally determined contributions, which I already mentioned, Nigeria's energy transition plan, I already mentioned, Nigeria's Climate Change Act 2021, Nigeria's Agenda 2050 and the National Development Plan 2021 or to 2025, Nigeria's climate change policy which has a lifespan between 2021 to 2030. Nigeria's National Climate Change Program for Nigeria's Economic Sustainability Plan. And this Nickel 2050 is a live calculator that projects and gives modeling, it's a modeling tool for projecting emission, business as usual, and futuristic aspects of even futuristic scenarios of the greenhouse gas emissions for Nigeria across sectors. Nigeria has also made a vision statement for its low emission development pathway through the document I already mentioned, and the low emission development strategy and climate change to give its gender length. All these documents are available and would be useful for citing. And as we move towards ensuring that we entrench programs, strategies, action plans for decarbonization, this will provide a good reference points for read. Next slide. I already mentioned to you that the strategy document, which is Nigeria's long-term low-emission development strategy, outlines a roadmap to achieve low-carbon economy by 2050. It also aims at providing information for Nigeria to achieve information by which Nigeria would achieve the net zero emissions by 2060, while balancing economic growth with environmental sustainability. This national strategy document integrates climate goals with sustainable development. It focuses on reducing greenhouse gas emission, promoting clean energy, and ensuring economic growth. The strategy emphasizes stakeholders' collaboration, technological innovations, and alignment with global climate commitments, aiming for a just and resilient transition. I already mentioned that this is under the path for Nigeria's LTLEDS, and the spurs analyze sectorals, including employment, GDP growth, and poverty reduction, while considering all forms of emissions, both energy and non-energy related, long-term, low-emission development strategy scenarios. My slide provides information on the scenarios under business as usual and the current policy scenario, how all of this aim at ensuring that Nigeria contributes towards reducing global greenhouse gas emission as outlined in our national determined contribution reports to the UNFCCC. Still outlining the scenarios on the different sectors under the long-term low emissions development strategy. Under the gas economy scenario, under the renewable energy scenarios. Well, for all of this, it's a pathway and it's a journey for reduction. Nigeria is on that pathway as it implements a number of these strategies, national actions, and plans. It hasn't come without its barriers, challenges, and opportunities offered. Some of the challenges I'm sure you are aware of like energy technologies, the political and the economic resistance transitioning away from fossil fuel, just to mention issues of policy somersault here. Also, in our infrastructure in developing countries such as Nigeria to support large-scale decarbonization. Finances can be included in this. And preferring solutions to mentioned challenges, Nigeria has taken a bold step in employing innovative financing models. The green bonds is one of Nigeria's very innovative finance um, method of supporting national green projects. We also have public-private partnerships, which, like the one the women group are putting together, working with government organizations to build innovation hubs that would add value towards supporting a large-scale decarbonization programs. It's important to note that as we entrench stronger international cooperation with developed countries through exchange programs, through transfer technology, we will see some of these barriers being overcome towards ensuring and entrenching decarbonization processes. Importantly, an informed society would always be in a position to shift public opinion and consumer behavior towards decarbonization. And this is where the call to action, your role in decarbonization would include simple steps by individuals, reducing energy use, supporting sustainable products, advocating for clean energy policies, adopting sustainable practices that reduce carbon footprints, report transparently on all of this progress to enable the governments have a measurable, reportable, and verifiable processes that are on ground. Also, you're mobilizing large communities like what you're doing now to participate in decarbonization initiatives from tree planting to local clean energy projects are of great importance in moving forward together. Globally and acting locally will ensure that global decarbonization is a collective responsibility that requires the participation and commitment of all relevant stakeholders. By aligning efforts and sharing best practices, we can accelerate the transition to a sustainable energy future. The journey towards decarbonization does not end here today, but starts a process for the future. I urge you all to continue your engagement, recognizing that every action, no matter how small, contributes to our shared goal of a sustainable and a resilient future. Let's keep the momentum going beyond World Decarbonization Day. As the work we do today will define the legacy we leave for generations yet unborn, the next generation. Thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to more collaboration with you. God bless you.